Welcome to my channel. Intro. Sulaiman al-Din. The Ayyubid dynasty was established by Yusuf ibn Ayyub, better known as Saladin, lit. Honor of the Faith, who lived from approximately 1137 to the 4th of March 1193. He was the first sultan of both Egypt and Syria and came from a Kurdish family. He was a key player in the Third Crusade and led the Muslim army's campaign of military conquest against the Crusader nations in the Levant. The Ayyubid dominion included Egypt, Syria, Upper Mesopotamia, the Hejaz, Yemen, and Nubia at its height. On the command of Nur al-Din, Saladin was dispatched to Egypt in 1164 together with his uncle Shirkuh, a general of the Zengid dynasty. A power struggle developed between Shirkuh and Shawa when the latter was reinstalled. Their primary goal had been to assist in restoring Shawa as the vizier to the young Fatimid Caliph Al-Adid. Saladin, on the other hand, rose through the Fatimid government's ranks as a result of his military victories over Crusader attacks and his personal ties to Al-Adid. In the years that followed, he oversaw incursions against the Crusaders in Palestine, ordered Yemen's successful conquest, and put down pro-Fatimid uprisings in Egypt. Nur al-Din's death in 1174 marked the beginning of Saladin's conquest of Syria, which he began by entering Damascus quietly at the governor's request. In the decisive Battle of Hattin in 1187, Saladin's Ayyubid army routed the Crusaders, seizing Jerusalem, and re-establishing Muslim military supremacy in the Levant. Even though the Kingdom of Jerusalem under the Crusaders lasted until the late 13th century, the defeat in 1187 was a turning point in the Christian military campaign against the local Muslim powers. Saladin passed suddenly in Damascus in 1193, having donated a large portion of his personal fortune to his subjects. He is buried next to the Umayyad Mosque in a mausoleum. Saladin is highly regarded in Kurdish, Turkic, and Arab culture in addition to his relevance to Muslim culture. He has usually been referred to as the most well-known historical Kurd. Early life. In the modern-day Iraqi city of Tikrit, Saladin was born. His laqab, honorific epithet, Salah ad-Din, means righteousness of the faith, whereas his given name was Yusuf. His ancestors most likely came from the town of Ajdanakan, which is located in central Armenia, not far from the city of Van. His native tribe, the Rawadiya, had already integrated some into the Arabic-speaking world by this point. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani was the most influential scholar in Saladin's day, and Saladin was greatly influenced and helped by him and his students. Military career. Saladin's paternal uncle Asad al-Din Shirkuh, a notable military leader under Nur ad-Din, the Zengid emir of Damascus and Aleppo, and Saladin's most important tutor, oversaw the beginning of Saladin's military career. Shawa, the vizier to the Fatimid Caliph Al-Adid, had been expelled from Egypt in 1163 by Durjam, a rival from the renowned Banu Ruzaik tribe. Nur ad-Din granted his request for military support and, in 1164, dispatched Shirkuh to assist Shawa in his campaign against Durjam. At the age of 26, Saladin accompanied them. Shirkuh refused to withdraw his army from Egypt once Shawa was reinstated as vizier, claiming it belonged to Nur ad-Din. In Egypt, Vizier of Egypt Imaurik of Jerusalem and Shirkuh were engaged in a power battle over Egypt, during which Shawa asked Imaurik for help. Saladin allegedly killed Shawa in 1169, while Shirkuh passed away the following year. After his passing, a number of people, most of them ethnic Kurds, were given consideration for the position of vizier to Al-Adid. The Ayyubid family's political career was influenced by their ethnic unity. Saladin was suspicious of Turkish influence, as were his close friends. One time Emir Qutb al-Din al-Hadbani, a contender for the viziership, was pushed to resign by Isa al-Hakari, a Kurdish lieutenant of Saladin, who said that, "Both you and Saladin are Kurds and you will not let the power pass into the hands of the other." Saladin, a Sunni, was chosen by the Shia Caliph Al-Adid for many reasons. King Baldwin III had the Knights Templar construct defenses in Gaza, which Saladin demolished in 1191. He invaded and took control of the Crusader citadel of Eilat, which was located on an island at the head of the Gulf of Aqaba, at some point that year, though precisely when is unknown. Saladin made the decision to remove it from his path because, although it did not represent a threat to the Muslim navy's passage, it might annoy smaller groups of Muslim ships. A Nubian army and a group of former Fatimid Armenian soldiers were reportedly encamped on the Egyptian border during the summer of 1173, prepared to occupy Aswan. Saladin was called upon to help the city's emir, and Turan Shah, Saladin's brother, provided forces. The Nubians left as a result. Nevertheless, they later returned and were once more driven away in 1173. The Nubian town of Ibrahim was taken this time by Egyptian forces who proceeded from Aswan. Nur ad-Din, his friend and instructor, received a present from Saladin that included 60,000 dinars, wonderful manufactured goods, some jewelry, and an elephant. Saladin used the chance to wreak havoc on the Crusader countryside as he brought these supplies to Damascus. He tried to attack the desert fortresses but held off on pressing an attack. Conquest of Syria. Conquest of Damascus. Early in the summer of 1174, Nur ad-Din was assembling an army and reportedly preparing an assault on Saladin's Egypt by sending summonses to Mosul, Diyarbakir, and the Jazira. Upon learning of these preparations, the Ayyubids convened a council to assess the potential threat, and Saladin gathered his own forces outside of Cairo. After becoming unwell the previous week, Nur ad-Din passed away on May 15, and as Saleh Ismail al-Malik, his 11-year-old son, took over as Saleh Ismail al-Malik's leadership. Saladin gained political independence after his death, and in a letter to Saleh, he vowed to act as a sword against his foes and described his father's passing as an earthquake shock. Saleh was sent to Aleppo in August, and Gumushtagan, the city's emir and a captain of Nur ad-Din's veterans, took charge of looking after him. Returned to Cairo and forays in Palestine. Saladin returned to Damascus after leaving the An-Nusayriya mountains, where he ordered his Syrian soldiers to go back home. With just his personal followers, he left Turan Shah in charge of Syria and headed towards Egypt, arriving in Cairo on September 22. He had a lot to plan and oversee in Egypt after being gone for around 2 years, including Cairo's fortification and reconstruction. While the Cairo citadel was being built, the city walls were restored and their extensions were laid out. 67. Saladin gave the order to construct Joseph's Well, the 280-foot deep, 85-meter, Bir Yusuf. Battles and truce with Baldwin. Without taking any measures to prepare for an unexpected onslaught, the Ayyubids permitted Baldwin IV of Jerusalem and his Knights Templar, who were located in Gaza, to enter Ascalon. Saladin was hesitant to ambush the Crusaders due to the presence of highly capable generals despite the fact that they only had 375 knights in their force. The fight of Montgassard, which took place on November 25 at Ramla, perhaps at Geza, also known as Tel Jezar, caught Saladin and his soldiers off guard because the majority of the Ayyubid force was absent at the time. The Templar force defeated the Ayyubid army before they could organize. Saladin initially sought to arrange his forces in battle order, but as his bodyguards were being murdered, he realized that loss was unavoidable and mounted a tiny force. King Baldwin dispatched messengers to Saladin in the spring of 1180 with peace proposals as he was preparing to launch a fierce campaign against the Kingdom of Jerusalem in the Safad region. Saladin agreed to a ceasefire because droughts and poor harvests hindered his commissariat. When Saladin's naval fleet appeared off the port of Tartus and an Ayyubid invasion on his territory in May, Raymond of Tripoli was forced to accept the truce despite his initial opposition. Domestic affairs. In June 1180, Saladin staged a reception at Guksu for Nur al-Din Muhammad, the Artuchid emir of Kifa, when he gave him and his brother Abu Bakr gifts that Imad al-Din estimated to be worth over 100,000 dinars. This was done in an effort to impress other emirs in Mesopotamia and Anatolia as well as to solidify an alliance with the Artuchids. Saladin had earlier promised to mediate the dispute between Kili Arslan II, the Seljuk ruler of Rum, and Nur al-Din. When he heard that Nur al-Din was abusing his daughter and using her to expand Seljuk dominion, the latter asked that Nur al-Din hand back the territories that had been provided to him as a dowry for marrying his daughter. Saladin was invited to mediate by Nur al-Din. In the summer of 1181, Majd al-Din, a former Turan Shah appointee in the Yemeni town of Zabad, was being entertained by Imad ad-Din al-Ishfani at the villa of Bahar al-Din Karach, a former palace administrator under Saladin. Majd al-Din was accused of stealing Zabad's profits by Saladin's close friends, but Saladin thought there was no proof to support the claims. He obtained Majd al-Din's release in exchange for 80,000 dinars. Al-Adil and Taj al-Muluk Buri, Saladin's, "This Yemen is a treasure house. We overcame it, but to this day we have received neither a reward nor a benefit from it. All that has happened is endless expenditures, the dispatch of troops, and hopes that ultimately did not come true." There is a brief history of Salah al-Din Yusuf ibn Ayyub,